Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Litchfield County Sports Program. I'm your host, Tim Gaffney, joined here by my good friend, Mr. Rick Wilson, who is in the building here in Litchfield. I want to thank the fine folks at Cablevision at Cable 5 for having us up here in Litchfield tonight. We also want to thank a couple of our great sponsors, Torrington Physical Therapy, getting the Gaffney knee back in place. You can't ever thank them too much, so we thank them for all their support. Albreda Refuge is also one of our great folks. And our good friend, Tony Torina from Tony's Coffee Express, who one of our guests can talk about afterwards with a lot of experience that he has had there. Hi, Mr. Wilson.
How are you, Mr. Gaffney?
Oh, not bad. I brought you a Baltimore Oriole baseball from the Gaffney collection. The Mets are in the middle. I put the Yankees and the Red Sox on the outside just because I probably should, just to be politically correct. And what I figured is that when we go to Camden Yards and we see our good friend Connor Bierfeld, who right now is tearing it up for Delmarva. And it's funny, they talk about the yard goats or whatever it is in Hartford. Minor league baseball's got more ridiculous names than yard dogs or
that's
birds
probably
or whatever,
part of its
right?
magic, though, I think, whatever.
You have to have an unusual name there. So who's going to finish with a better record this year, Mets or Orioles?
Well, I think right now I would say the Mets, because I was going to ask you if there were any wins in this ball. Because I think we split today, but we're still, we're 1 or 2 games under 500 in a woeful division, at least at this point.
That's true.
So somebody could still emerge out of that division, and the Orioles certainly turned it on in the second half of the year. I don't know if this is the same Oriole team. We don't have a Bartolo Colon.
And our good friend and one of our writers, Patrick Tischer, we brought the Yankee ball for you, Patrick. Shout out to you there. I can't touch it because it burns my hands. But anyway, we're good. He always says that Bartolo Colon is just one drug test away from being bounced again because it happened a couple of years ago. I mean, the guy has become kind of it's almost in lore now. When he gets a base hit, his helmet flies off, his stomach flies towards left field, and I mean, it's just for us to have 7 wins out of him already, that's just incredible.
We've been watching him hit. John Lester, I saw, is 0 for 59 in his career. Maybe John Lester could be watching Bartolo Colon. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it? Hey, listen, the camera just went wide, which means it's guest time. And to Rick's left is my good friend, our good friend, Mr. Mike McKenna, the athletic director at Torrington High School. And to my right, or my other left, would be the legendary, the one, the only, boys and girls, you know him from the Litchfield Hills Road Race, Mr. Billy Neller. Mr. Neller, good evening.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Billy actually helped us with the last segment we did. A little camera work tonight, so the resume is getting deeper.
Bigger and bigger.
It's bigger and bigger. Mr. McKenna, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
How are you?
Great.
How's everything at THS?
A little damp outside, but we were able to get our softball and baseball practices in. We're ready to go for the state tournament.
Not a bad thing. Hey, listen, I want to thank you for helping us with the first annual All LCS Torrington High School team. We have over 42 kids that we're going to be honoring on June 11th up at Greenwoods Country Club. Our good friend Robbie is going to be helping us out with that. We've got Michelle Cook coming with a presentation. We've got the Honorable Mayor Eleanor Carbone up giving a presentation for the kids. Trying to do what we tell you all the time, we celebrate the excellence of what's going on at the school, catching the kids doing something right as opposed to always pointing towards the negative.
Yeah, we have great kids at Torrington High School, and you have definitely brought that out to people. Rick, I've known Rick for way too many years, and and he's always writing the positive. He's looking for that positive tone to put it in, which is what we have to do with high school kids. We need to promote what good things they do, and Torrington High School, we got great kids.
And it really it came to a head with me a couple of weeks ago, and I kept getting tired of seeing different headlines and everything being accentuated with the wrong and what was wrong with Torrington, what's happening on the streets, what's happening here or there. I mean, forget about it. Since I was a kid and you were a kid and everybody was a kid, something happens in our town. It doesn't matter what town it is. Bad things happen. But 99 out of 100 times and 100 people are trying to do the right thing. And like I've told you guys many a times, most people I run into on a daily basis are just trying to do what they can do. They're doing it in a positive way. I deal with all your coaches, all your kids, very respectful, and the rest of it, your coaching staff and the rest. So I think it's our job and our responsibility, and I'm very fortunate to have Rick as my head writer, where we think it's lazy if you always accentuate the negative. You're not looking hard enough.
there's so many good things that happen out there. We as a media in general got to take blame, and I think we don't. One of the things you and I have talked about that we like about what we do is 98% of what we write is positive. The next time, let's say a Torrington student does something good, I want them to refer to Torrington baseball player did something good, because they're sure quick to associate the other way, and I don't want to get into that, but there's just so many good stories, so many good coaches, so many good kids, so much commitment, so much things going on. At times there's a place for the other stuff, but it's not the main place, and it never should be, not at this age level. A lot of good stuff going on out there.
And Mike, it's been amazing to me that, as I call and talk to some of these kids and, tell them that they've made the team, I mean, to me it's just, honoring them and the rest of it. But then I put myself back to when I was 16 or 17 or 15, and you're being honored with something. I mean, they are humbled, they are kind of speechless in the rest of it, and I think it's going to be a fun night for all of us, and I appreciate you, coming up. We did this back in 2006 with the before-mentioned Tony Torino when they won the state championship. Went down to Co-Park. Mayor Ryan Bingham was there. We kind of gave out a little pin, a little certificate to both the basketball team, and then I think we had some other kids too there that we honored. For a kid in high school, you get a certificate from the mayor, you get a pin, you get recognition. I think that's the kind of stuff that sticks with you, and you're probably more likely to want that recognition for doing good, as opposed to always being called out when you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I think it's important that we recognize these kids, and that we're helping to reinforce that this is the behavior that people want to see. This is the behavior that future employers want to see, your future colleges want to see. They want to see these kids performing in the best possible light. And it's up to us in the community to bring that forward and let people see that. And, again, you guys do a great job getting that word out there about how great the kids are.
Well, one great thing that we have there now is, you got a world-class track. I mean, you have a world-class, facility there that, thanks to guys like Ed Aram and Mario Longambuco and the committee and Michelle Cook for getting almost $3 million, for that. I mean, when you had the Invitational a couple of weeks ago, where I think you had 14 teams come from the area, those kids were stunned. When they ran on that track and they threw a javelin where it wasn't going to hit somebody on the infield, there was a separate spot for it, they were pretty happy.
Yeah, we got a lot of good feedback on that. The Varsity Alumni Club put that together. And, a lot of good people in that club, Mario Longambuco, Paul Denza, Paul Ahern. There were a lot of people involved in this event. To see those kids, there were 16 teams there, and there were, both boys and girls teams. It went, we had to start late because we had SATs that day. Right. So we were a little late start, and we went in, to the evening. But even the kids said, finishing under the lights was kind of fun for them, and they really liked that.
I think you're looking to even go maybe out towards the Avon Canton area next year to see with different invites, depending on who might want to come.
Yeah, it was set up with the intention of it being a Naugatuck Valley League, Berkshire League kind of challenge, and in many sports, people, they're doing the talking, can this basketball team play in the NVL and this and that, but track and field is one where it's pretty even, and the Berkshire League has always been strong in track and field, and it came out in the event, at the beginning of the month. So it was fun to watch. It was a great day. The weather was great, and a lot of people put a lot of time in to get that up and running. And in the first year of having the track, to have that type of an event was fantastic.
I don't know if you saw, but at one point Ed Aram was sitting on one of the new benches, towards the end, and it was like the grand boobah. All it needed to be was raised a little bit, because as someone would come by, hey, what'd you win? Let me see your medal, right? That wasn't too bad, Fred, was it?
No,
that wasn't bad.
I've been working on that.
And he'd bring the kid over, and the kid would be so thrilled. He's like, look, I won in this, and then he dismissed them. They were on their way. But those kids, whether it was second, third, or whatever it was, they were being recognized, and they enjoyed it. Thomaston and Torrington baseball a couple of weeks ago. That was a thrilling game.
It was a fun game to watch.
It really was.
Fun game to watch.
Kobe Covington's home run has not landed yet.
It knocked the rest of that building down. I told you. That thing was the Rockets' red glare on that thing.
But there is really a good thing happening at Fusions Park. Behind it this year, where the buildings that we've been trying to get rid of forever, back there are coming down. They're all gutted. Probably by midsummer, I think they'll probably be down. I don't care if you put anything there but grass. It's going to look a lot better, than it did. So, it's terrific. There's a guy sitting over here. He's never quiet. But he's quiet right now because he's engaged. He's figuring out what we're chatting about. But it's the man who makes the Litchfield Hills Road Race so much fun for us, and pretty much everything we do a lot of fun. So, talk about the road race this year. What's cooking, Mr. Neller?
Basically, it's so well run that the individuals that have all the different jobs, we have a meeting and bing, they check in, they're covered, they're done. John, who's working for you guys with the sound, does the food. They check in with him. He orders everything, takes care of it. It's done. It's so, after so many years, everybody is so good at what they do. It's easy. Well, years, it's a lot of work. It's not easy. It's a lot of work, but for the organizers, it's easy.
Take folks way back to where this began. Go to the beginning.
Well, Joe Concannon, born in Litchfield and grew up here, went to school here, went to school in Boston, and got a job as a sports writer for the Boston Globe. And he would cover road races, golf, all kinds of things. And he fell in love with the Falmouth Road Race, which Tommy Leonard founded, and he put that on. And Tommy still gives Joe credit. The Falmouth Road Race now has, 12,000 runners or whatever. And Tommy gives Joe all the credit for making that race what it is. Because Joe put it on the map. Joe convinced the Globe to hire a helicopter to fly over the gorgeous part of the course, with the lighthouse and the shore.
Yeah.
And that's a classic photo. And so Joe wanted to have a race in his hometown here to bring all of his world friends in, Falmouth, Holyoke, Boston, to enjoy his hometown and meet all of his friends, and it couldn't have worked better. The first year, the Greater Boston Track Club came in with, 15 runners. First 15 places, obviously. But it just clicked. And the friendships are amazing. I say this a lot. Joe and Tommy are my conduits to hundreds of friends. It's nice how that works.
Right.
And Joe, this year now, will be gone 15 years already.
Wow.
It's amazing. But because of him, I still have best friends I haven't met yet. That's the atmosphere he wanted to create for the first race among the friendships. And he did it. It worked.
I think that's how I met you.
Yeah.
That's how most of us met. When we started to cover the road race. Now, we often say that the road race is it's a 4-day party in Litchfield with a little race.
Interrupted by the race.
And a golf tournament on Monday. Okay. And I know that Rick will chime in because at one point he was doing stories for the Republican American, and every story that Rick did involved something of a cold beverage. Right, Mr. Wilson?
Well, it's always the funny story. Joe Palladino did a story, and I did a story, and for years I've been doing a story, and somebody in the town section did a story, and they got called into the front office and said, can anybody write a story without mentioning alcohol in the Litchfield Road Race? And they all just turned around at the time and said no. So, it was that,
it's not politically correct by any means, or something you want to promote to kids or like that, but it is a big part of the race, the friendships and the parties, the cookouts. It's nice. All these friends now come back to town, not just on road race weekend. I'll be walking through town or jogging or something. I don't see 3 guys from Boston in town. Just they came in to stay with people that had put them up that they made friends with. And
even with my wife. I mean, my wife has run it several times and will run again this year, but she has introduced the race to their friends, and they're just kind of taken back when they come up, and they're taken back with the scene and just everything on the green, and so they just come up and watch and spend 3 or 4 hours here on a second Sunday in June every year, and that's the type of event it's become.
Yeah.
And you set up. I learned 2 years ago. We set up a tent right next to the Wilsons, and 7 o'clock in the morning, Carolyn is out there with her friends, and they're setting up their tent. You got to get there early.
Got to claim your spot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, because it's a hot commodity when you get there. But there's always good food. Somebody was cooking salmon last year. I mean, these
Morelli comes
out. Morelli's probably the best food.
Donnie and his wife. They always have.
I always hit them myself.
They always have a pretty good spread over there.
It's amazing stuff. But at the same same time, it does a lot of great things for for Litchfield proper. You have on Saturday you've got everything on the green where you have the tent set up and the rest of it, and whether it's what are they doing with that this year? Will it be an open market or?
Well, it's the same. The junior women have a whole big. It's a fair.
Yep.
And all these vendors are on the green and with arts, crafts, just everything. So.
And we go to the village because we want to say hi to our fine friends at the village. It's not to partake in anything. Rick and I go in the morning and we toast and we say.
But that's where you're going to get your stories.
Well, because
from that's the meeting place. People
really
from out of town, Boston, Holyoke, Falmouth, all these guys come in, and they will meet there to get their rides to where they're staying, or what homes they're in, or whatever they need.
Now, Tommy Leonard, did he win? What did he win at some point?
No, he.
Who was the Irish guy that won a couple of races?
Andy Ronan.
Oh, we had a couple. Andy Ronan won.
Andy Ronan, one of my all-time favorite friendly. I haven't seen Andy recently, and he hasn't been back in a while.
He sneaks into town. He hasn't run.
Right.
He's been able to come in and golf, on a Monday or whatever. I know next year he's going to be back. He's coaching, I believe, at Stony Brook, Long Island. And a bunch of those guys got into coaching.
Not the golf course.
No.
Not the you're right. 40 years coming up, next year. But I always remember one night I went to the village the night before on Saturday, and there was one guy who was a runner, and I apologized to him profusely for not remembering his name. But I had his brogue, and he's drinking the darkest beer I've ever seen. And he's having like 5 of them, and he's racing the next day. And he says, "Timmy, next year you got to run with me." And of course I've had a couple, and I'm like, "Yes, I'll run with you." And then it never happens because we go on the press truck. But these guys, and I remember Godfrey Kittredge. He is pounding the darkest out thing I've ever seen, and then the next day it's 7.1 miles of a jog.
And what a nice guy he is.
Oh, and one of the record holder with the men's for the fastest time in history, top 10. We have the top 10 here. David Letterman might be off, but we still have a top 10 in the building here. But
and you missed Eddie Hellebuck, who was.
He was an individual.
Individual, about the size, about big enough where you could fold him up and put him in your suitcase. Won the race a couple of years. Interesting golfer.
Yep.
and
I think
different roles.
Yes.
And there's some great stories of. I know Judge Gill in Litchfield has had some of the runners, the elite runners from Kenyon, living with him for a long time. You have a lot of host families that open up.
Judge Gill probably had the most winners over the years stay at his house as he hosted them.
Okay.
So I think he has that record.
How about the team and the who's running elite wise really doesn't settle in until about the last couple of days, right? Depending on what their schedule is.
A lot of the guys, well, the Kenyons in particular, they have their camps around, and that's how they make their living. So the directors, or the agents rather, will look around different races and see what the highest prize money is, and they will send their best runners to that and trickle down, by prize money, and whatever layer we get, they still are good enough to win a pretty good race with some good competition. Especially in the early years, the competition was quite a bit better overall. But so it's usually the last couple of weeks
they start
that we know.
Who's going to have? Our good friend Brent Hawkins, we mentioned earlier. I mean, he's always got that funny hat that he doesn't know until the day before what it's going to be. Somebody makes it for him, and he announces. I mean, tremendously, because he knows about. You got 1,300, and almost every person as you come down West Street, he's calling you out.
He's got
now,
them all,
first of all, that's got to be sweet, because you're about dead at 7.2. You're about 7.1. You're done.
Well, but at my speed, it's not fun anymore to hear your name at that pace. But especially for the younger kids, it's nice. They hear their name coming through town, and they're being cheered, and
you're getting a lot of you're hearing a lot of it when you come down. I mean, some of the times that we've been there, the temperature's not nice. Sometimes 85 degrees and humid. Sometimes a little overcast. 80 is okay with a lot of humidity, but it can be tough up there.
Well, in 39 years, you've seen it all, from the rain and the cold to the brutal humidity and everything else. So
there's not a lot of shade up on the new ball fields.
Right.
You come up the junior high hill there, and by the cemetery, it's just the sun is pounding on you.
That even gets tough in the truck.
It does. I was
going to say, you get it crowded up there.
Well, yeah, it gets.
Well, that's the whole thing now. It's maneuvering around.
Sometimes we just have fans. Fans just show up and they get up on the truck. They're not working or anything.
Fans. You got Wallace taking up a couple spots. You got.
He's going to see this, okay?
Sorry,
we love you,
Peter.
We love you.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun. The road race is a tremendous, weekend for Litchfield, and the whole event for us is just, it's a lot of fun. What are your favorite memories of the road race, Mr. Wilson?
Well, you were talking before. Andy Ronan became one of my favorites. I did a couple stories on Andy, and I love talking to him. But I also, Billy talks about being introduced to people through the race. Billy introduced me to Joe Concannon, and I did a story on Joe once that we ran on the back page. I got to go down to Joe's mother's house. We sat there at his house. He was digging pictures out, and Joe's been gone for 15 years, so those kind of moments, kind of like when I did Connie Donahue up in Torrington, and that's a special moment. It's less about the races than it is about the moments, and to me, because it's what the races become to me. I mean, you're going to write about people, quick runners, and doing times, but doing the thing with Joe, meeting all the great guys, Billy, and asking Biff Pond. I used to go find Biff at the place. Hey, Biff, who are the bands playing this year?
Exactly.
The legendary Hot Ethel. I don't know if they'll ever make another comeback, but those kind of stories particularly. Also, the Saturday has always been a little bit poignant with me. The whole thing about drinking a beer at Joe's grave, we joke about the alcohol, but if you're thinking that that's all about alcohol, you're missing the whole tribute to Joe and a bunch of the other people that have meant.
Explain what that is.
Billy, usually in the middle of the afternoon. And
about 2 o'clock, we meet at the cemetery and walk around there, to certain graves. We say hello to my parents. The first couple of years, they were very instrumental in the race. They were the sign-up area Friday, Saturday. They were the hotel. We had people all over the house, staying on the floor all over. They were the breakfast, the dinners, the drivers.
Yeah.
So that they were. It's just a nice thing. We go visit them. Joe. We end up at Joe's grave, and unfortunately, part of life each year now. There's more and more people that we recognize, and it's a day of telling a lot of stories. Almost all of them are funny. There's sadness, there's tears, but when you're standing there, even through the tears, you're laughing. It's the people are missed, and we don't want to let them be forgotten.
And the whole race is a community, and it's a fellowship. But that day has always been nice. I was fortunate they saw fit to honor me with one of their Founders Award a couple of years ago, and I got to do it with John McKenna, a colleague of ours who I've known for years and has probably covered the road race long as, certainly as I have and everything else. So, it's those kind of moments. There are some of the runners that I certainly remember. Like I said, Andy Ronan particularly sticks out for me. I was very young when the race started in the early years, so I don't think I was here in.
Well, you're only 37, right? So
well, I was. I was like 5 when the race started.
He's a good rider.
But through the road race, I got to do at least meet and do a story with Bill Rogers. I don't want to say I know Bill Rogers, but I've met him a couple of times.
Yep.
And a long conversation with his parents who live in Connecticut. Well, they did live in Connecticut. Billy would know more about that. So, rubbing elbows with some of the greats, that's always nice. But this is always about people and the nice things about people. And those are the type of things that I remember.
And that's where you met Rod. I remember one year we met Rod Dixon as we were just on the side, and he was there, and we just started to talk about this kids marathon, which is absolutely amazing.
We joke a lot about the truck, but even on the truck, I mean, because it's one of the few times we're all together, and there's kind of particularly in this area, there's kind of a community. You were talking before about Lori Riley and Peter Wallace, and John Torsiello seems to show up every year, and I don't see John as often as I used to. And, so there's you and I, and there's 6 or 7. It's the one time that we're together. A lot of us crisscross singly. And that's kind of fun to do for that 28 minutes, which we hold the record, by the way. That 28 minutes that we're on the truck.
I'd like a new ladder because we're going to fall one of these years.
And, I always like to get here early because I'll walk around at like 11 o'clock and just the people that I run into.
Right.
And that's part of the whole magic of the day for me.
I remember last year. I was like 3 months after knee surgery. Getting up on that truck was challenging, and then what you figure out on the truck is the way that you stop yourself from falling off is with your knees. That was a bad decision on my part to get on the truck last year. This year a little better because you're trying to take pictures, which means all you can do is hold on with your knees and your thighs. But you guys help me out. Nobody feel. And you bring up a good point as far as the media in this area and the sports writers in this area. I've been fortunate enough that since I started writing in '99. Everybody kind of gets along and everybody's pretty cooperative. There's none of, I think, what we used to hear about 20 or 30 years ago where you can't share. I mean, we know how hard Joe Powell works. We know how, we saw Lori Riley down in Tampa.
Yep.
Down in Tampa, that reminded me of the old days of working at the Register Citizen, bringing in potato chips in the middle of the night and working until 11 or 12.
Only hear Rod Dixon here you talk about that.
They were healthy potato chips. There's no such thing. But, that was fun when we had, everybody from Jeff Jacobs to Rich Elliott, and we learned a couple of things about how these creatures of habit at sports things are, where they put a buffet out for you in the beginning, and you notice both of us, we don't need a buffet, we're good. You shame us today, Billy, and Michael, you also, because you're in shape, you get out there with him and everything. But I think who was it? Paul Doyle said it best when he said we were eating like Keith Richards for the week. Because you have a buffet and then you have another buffet. And the other sports writers who do it for a long time, we noticed that all of a sudden there'd be a large pile of cookies on their plate covered by a napkin because they knew the buffet was going.
They know when it's coming and when it's going.
Right. So they need their midnight snack. Now, of course, at midnight they bring out 40 pizzas, and of course you don't want to be rude, So you go have 4 or 5 pieces of pizza at midnight or something. But anyway, the camaraderie was good. We had to get out of there because I think you said it best. We would have been dead if we did it for another month. But that's I think what happens at the the road race. You are right. We don't see a lot of the guys all the time, and then everybody is there, and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and through the road race, and I've known Billy through other venues and avenues, but he's certainly become that much more of a better friend because of the road race, and we share a lot of that stuff, and he's a guy that'll give you the shirt off his back and everything else, and so that's a great thing that's been added to because of this. It's all about people, this race, and it's about good people.
Behind the glass tonight, the great John Bongiorno. How did we meet John Bongiorno? Billy Neller. Right?
Yeah, there
so
you go.
That's where all these connections come through. Any of our road shows that we've done, the equipment that we use on the road show, the guys have been nice enough to let us use remote equipment. So Billy does have a heart of gold, and we're truly appreciative of your friendship. We got about 2 minutes left. Michael, anything in closing? What do you got, sir?
Just we're getting down to the end at the school. One piece of news I got today, I didn't have a chance to tell you ahead of time, and is that our favorite girls basketball coach, Mr. Michael Fritsch, was named to the Hall of Fame for Connecticut High School Coaches Association.
Excellent.
Well deserved.
Congratulations,
good for him.
Michael.
He really hasn't been coaching for 70 years, but it just seems like it.
Just ask his players. It just seems like
such a credit to his players. Great job, Mike.
To hear that today.
Great job, Mike.
Congratulations. You got it. And Mr. Neller?
No, just thank you for all the support you guys provide, because the more you write about the race, the more everything good happens. It just keeps growing. And one thing I would like to see on your show, though, is Gilbert Black as a guest.
Yeah.
I would. I mean, he's just a great guy.
Right. And a little bit on that, on Gilbert.
Well, we met him a couple times at Fusenich Park. I saw him at up in Litchfield. We had him, and he played in the Negro Leagues, and his scrapbook is phenomenal.
Okay.
And he is the one, well, not to pick, but if I remember, he's the one that had a brief spell a couple of years ago, right?
We put him on the mound in the heat,
okay.
And we didn't think
I have his card in my wallet.
He's 80-something, and
that's the one
standing in the sun.
When Rick had the pitch that's still going.
Yeah.
His first pitch, right?
It was just a little high in the major league, so just a little high. Not outside. It was,
we always say, don't bounce it. We got a minute left here on the program. Mr.
Hey,
Wilson.
I just want to wish Mike in Torrington, he's got his fine softball team, and this will air after, but they're in action Monday, and his baseball team, which is kind of up and down, but the way they can hit are capable of beating everybody. Good luck to those guys.
Thank you very much.
And it'll be a nice day up there on Monday for you guys.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day, Mr. Wilson. I know it's been kind of a long evening. I want to thank everybody.
From prison to this.
From prison to Cablevision. That's a definite step up. Thanks to Doug Harrell and all his fine folks here for putting us on the air. We'll be back on in a couple of weeks. This will air a week from today. And you're like, what is today? Well, when you see it, you'll be on the air. How good is that?
There you go.
Mr. Wilson, this time you can take us out.
Aloha.